Hello and welcome. I'm channeling a lot of information through me today, and I have the energy to give, so I wanted to just share some of the messages that I've been receiving from yesterday into today, and it has to do with the healing process. It has to do with the healing that we go through once we are awakened in consciousness. So I'm speaking to those of you who have had some form of spiritual awakening where you're realizing life is not what it once was taught to you as being. And regardless where you are on your journey of awakening in consciousness, your journey begins with healing. What happens when we are awakened to the truth of the universe or ourself, that we are not separate from Source, God, the universe, but we are definitely a part of it? Because you start to witness and experience not only synchronicities, but what we call miracles, which are really just parts of our energy coming into form. It is one of the ways that the universe, the divine, Source, God, words, right? Whatever resonates for you, shows us, each and every one of us, that we are not separate. We are a part of the source of all, God. I stray away from that word personally, although I have been brought back to it because it brings in such a resonance, and these are just words. We can all understand what I'm speaking of here. So in the beginning, when we are enlightened, when we are touched by the divine, it is such a profound experience. Heightened sensitivities, heightened psychic senses, and it's as if there's a giant wave of energy that has rushed in, ushered in, and is carrying you from where you had been to a new perspective, a new state of being. And it is quite the adrenaline rush. It opens up the heart chakra, for one. So we have, once the heart chakra is opened, usually the upper chakras begin to open. The throat chakra, where we start to express our truth. The third eye and crown, we are seeing and knowing a lot deeper, hidden knowledge, ancient knowledge that we all carry. It's stored in our very cells of our body. When we're in this state, we're also aware that there have been, or there are, loved ones in our life that are not in this stage. And we may re-injure ourselves by trying to awaken them. I'm talking about family and close friends, people that you've always shared your heart and soul with, even if it's just one person. This is part of the journey, because in the initial stages, we are to awaken and allow this energy to rise through us and awaken all of our senses and chakras, oh my crown, to at least a certain degree of awareness of healing from past traumas and wounds. Now, what we typically want to do, because we are in the heart at that point, is we want to just forgive. And that is the ultimate goal, is to forgive those who have deeply hurt us, traumatized us. And so sometimes we go through phases of this. I'm getting hot now. We go through phases of possibly prematurely forgiving without diving deeper into what did it do to me? What effects did these traumas have on me, on my root chakra, on my safety and security and stability, on my sacral, on my heart? Any of those areas of life, we have been fragmented and just wounded deeply. But we tend to skip over the depths of those woundings because we don't want to feel that pain. We're rising in this consciousness and in this bubble of love of all, seeing the unity, the truth, and that is a beautiful state to be in. However, we will be dropped back down. So we spiral up, we spiral down. We will be dropped back down to begin that healing phase. And we find ourselves in these cycles over and over and over again. Honestly, I was reminded of how many years it took me. One person in particular, well, two, but I'm going to talk about the first person in particular that had been the catalyst to my awakening personally. We had connected so deeply within a divine love connection of very euphoric, very otherworldly. It was as if like we were invincible and like the world came alive for us both. We could do anything. And suddenly, when things began to get difficult in my life, my family, my things that had been scary and traumatizing for me, people were going through really cataclysmic events, and that person suddenly turned offline and went back into unconsciousness. And that was deeply painful for me because I'm like, you're going to leave me here in this elevated state of consciousness alone? I wasn't fully aware that it really had nothing to do with him, other than him being the catalyst in the story of my life to awaken me. And when I came to that realization, I came to an ability to forgive. I was aware that until I forgive, because I had a lot of anger, a lot of pain towards this person, and I let this person know multiple times. Suddenly with the throat chakra open, I expressed, I wrote, I spoke, I expressed. It empowered me to no longer hold back. But I think I might have went a little too far. That's okay though. I went through waves of forgiveness and then blame, and forgiveness and then blame, and forgiveness and blame for many years. Just with this person who was no longer in my life, by the way. But energetically, it took me that long because I prematurely forgave, because I wanted to so badly release myself from that pain without actually looking deeper into where was that pain taking me. Once I got to that point of understanding where that pain was taking me, it was taking me to a childhood wound, a father wound, and a mother wound. I went and plunged into that to heal that. And the more that, let me go back to, because I wrote a couple notes, premature forgiveness. As I'm consciously aware, and sometimes unconsciously aware, that I'm in a healing journey, suddenly those that I had been friends with and family and connections their path started taking them somewhere else. And suddenly either the people that I did resonate with in the spiritual world even, did not have time for me. And those that were in my family or whatnot just didn't understand me. My own son, he was like fearful, like what happened to my mom? And that was hard. That was a really hard time for me. But loved ones begin to fade away or drop away because this is in order for us to go deeper, deeper, deeper. But us on a conscious level, if we're just staying on the conscious level, we're looking at like, where'd everybody go? Nobody understands me. And it creates a lot of fear. I had those moments, but then because I had tapped in so deeply to my inner guidance, to the guides, to the energies that were carrying me, I also was able to continue to follow my intuition. Our ego will fight and resist, but then when you let go of that ego, it's like, okay, I understand, I get now. So we go deep within, and this happens in spirals, in waves. We go into a hermit type mode. Interestingly enough, we are in Virgo season with a new moon in Virgo, the sun in Virgo, Mercury still in Virgo. About to station direct tomorrow, Mercury will be moving into Libra, but we have a lot of hermit energy right now, and 6 planets still in retrograde. Retrospect, review, rewind the tape, revisit what is brewing up inside, what is the outside world triggering within you to come out and be seen. The important thing here is not to get sucked into that loneliness or isolation or story that the ego mind wants to build for you at this time. Because it will be something like this: I'm all alone and nobody understands me and I don't understand my journey, and this is this self-talk that you're cutting off the incoming and up brewing. So we've got energy coming in through the crown, through the third eye, through the senses, and energy coming up from the depths of you, from your cellular memory, from your past, to be reconciled, to be healed. But when we just look on the surface of the story, we start building a whole nother story for ourselves. This is how people can get trapped and stuck in certain cycles of their life. And I don't like to use the word victim, but we fall into this victim consciousness, like nobody is there for me, I'm all alone, I'm afraid, and this world is too hard, this world is too mean, this world, like you're just creating that reality for you because you're constantly, it's the mind chatter. This is why meditation is so important, or any form of tempering that part of you that wants to just nitpick the entire story or build a storyline based off of your current circumstances. So we go into hermit, and one of the main reasons we go into hermit is to heal, but also to then, once we heal, we want to elevate ourselves back into this. We want to try to stay connected. You're never separate, but we mentally separate ourselves from God, from source energy. We've been taught this. This has happened since, I don't want to say since you're born, because most babies and children are very connected. But when we start to have that programming, conditioning, social conditioning, upbringing, trauma, that's when our separation begins. It is part of the journey. Part of the journey is to be separated from source energy, so that we can come back to source energy. It is, again, a spiral, a circle. Everyone desires connection. You cannot deny it. I don't care what kind of Virgoian hermit you are. There is a deep-seated, primordial desire to connect to other humans. We're not meant to be on this planet alone. We are not meant to be on our journeys alone, for the most part. There is a portion, the hermit, the healing portion, where we have to, but it's not alone. If you're connecting to source energy, if you're connecting to your higher self, to God, you're not alone. If you pinch off your connection to source energy and let the brain build the story, you're getting in the own way, getting in your own way of the healing. You don't need to know what to do. Your body, your energy field, and source energy are already doing it. We stop it with the mind, with paying attention to what is and building story. When we get to this level of healing, and we're always going to be stripping away old and healing old patterns and old traumas and old wounds, abuse, addicted. I was reflecting back on how abusive I was to myself after enduring abuse most of my life. I then turned it on myself, running away from healing that pain, running away from feeling that pain, that true pain. Because we have a way, a lot of us have a way of, we'll be hurt, but we don't really want to feel the depths of that pain. So I numbed myself out, ran away from it for as long as I could, until suddenly the universe was like, you can't run from this anymore. You can run, you can hide, but you're only running and hiding from yourself and your own pain. So we do have to surrender and go into it. And I liken it to, I use this metaphor a lot, but it's so true. Childbirth. For any of you who have had children, regardless whether you're epidurally numbing yourself out or not, you've got to go through pain to have that new birth. There's no way around it. Everyone desires connection. And that is the main point at this point in time, is to strip away our old stories, our past, not allowing our past to define us, not looking to an outside God or an outside source outside of ourselves to be that Superman that's not coming, it's within. Once we awaken, we desire authentic connections with depth. That's where the loneliness and isolation in the mind can really take hold. Because if you're not trusting or believing that there are other souls on this planet that actually want the same thing, and you're looking at it superficially with about all of the relationships and connections you've had up until this now moment, and you're building a story, there's nobody that understands me, there's nobody that wants to go to the depths of me, there's nobody to connect to, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to find it. There's a source inside of you that is smarter. I point to the gut and the sacral because that is the creative centers of the body. But you have to understand the bridge between the mind and the heart, or even all of the chakras. How the mind the ego likes to protect, doesn't want to repeat the past. You're going to repeat the past if you listen to the ego. Trust me, we repeat the past a lot anyway. There is such a thing. So we want to get out of the negative self-talk and the self-limiting belief systems. And that is what this retrograde period is for us all to do. At this time, we have so many powerful planets and energies in retrograde that are working with us to help us strip away all of the old false beliefs. And you may be experiencing a lot of signs and synchronicities and what we call miracles, because there are more parts of our consciousness coming online. We are, whether we know it or not, elevating in frequency. The earth, the planet, is elevating in energetic frequency, vibration. So we are starting to really manifest some interesting things for ourselves. But if you're still believing that that is coming from a source outside of you, you are deceiving yourself. This is you. This is coming from your energy. The last thing I want to tap into really quickly, and I will be going live later on tonight, is the healing of the family trauma, specifically the mother wound, but it could be father wound, depending on where everybody's working in different areas of their life path, birth chart. But there is a lot of mother wounds coming up for healing. I have to stand up, sorry. And again, back to the childbirth. When we feel separated from our birth mother, we also experience a separation from source, from the mother of all, source energy. When we begin to heal, and it's not, we can't force somebody else to see, feel, or understand our healing process. This is a solo mission, kind of. When we allow the memories, the pain, the trauma to come to the surface and recognize our patterns of thought, our patterns of behavior, when this pain comes to consciousness, when you start to feel, or when somebody or something triggers this deep-seated pain that's linked to a family trauma, a mother wound specifically, but any family trauma. I guess I want to just talk family trauma. And we work on our own healing and true forgiveness, not bypassing the pain and saying, I forgive, light and love, because you're really not. You only scratched a little piece of the surface, and that energy is still in there. The sadness, the rage, the pain, it comes back in many different forms. But when we allow the healing process, when we release, let out what has been stored inside and start to heal, and I have had this experience, I cannot tell you how many times, it has this ripple effect. Suddenly, and I had the chills, your family members that were involved in that source of pain or trauma begin to shift perspective, begin to work on their healing, begin to elevate in consciousness. My mother and I had this experience, and I'm going to end with this just to share a little personal experience. My mother and I were very, very close and connected, as most, not all, are. Up until around age 10, we had some trauma go down in the family, and I'm not going to go into all the depth of it, but and my father had left, and he was really devastated, and I had a lot of anger for my mom. And then this other man, who ended up being my stepdad, came into our family, and I instantly knew he was not a good person, and he was very abusive, and a lot of trauma ensued. And my mother, when we go on these, when we're separated from the mother, a lot of times the mother, and I had this experience as a mother, the mother has their own experience where they kind of get hypnotized into their own abyss and do not see, or do not want to see, the truth of what is happening. So that experience that I had of feeling abandoned, and my mother not seeing what I saw, the truth, that caused a lot of pain and anger. And I lived most of my life with that up until around 2012. There was a shift where we reconnected in consciousness, but really 2018 is when both of our worlds collided simultaneously. We both had another grand awakening, and she had been fired from her job and lost her home and had to move to the Appalachian Mountains in Virginia. I left my home and left my job to move to doing what I do now, but we came back into awareness, alignment with each other. And that did not happen until I began healing the mother wound. I did not really connect with her fully. Of course, she's my mother. I loved her always. But to have the connection that we have now, I never could see that even possibly happening until I started working on my own stuff and truly releasing the anger, the rage, the sadness, the abandonment wounds, and stripping away all of the ways that I had abandoned myself, how I had abused myself from running from that pain for so many years. So it's a lot. It's a lot of, you know, we don't just heal once and we're on to the next thing. We go through cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles. But trust me when I say, eventually, when we're healed, it has such a profound ripple effect on the family unit, on those who had been separated from each other. You find yourself realigning and reconnecting in the most beautiful, profound way. And I hope that I am saying this with as much intensity as what it was. Because a lot of people look at me or listen to me and they think, oh, you know, you had it lucky, you have it easy, you know, have a lot of great people in your life and you're close to your family and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't always that way. And if I even for a second began to, when I speak of trauma and abuse, I don't even want to go into it because I don't want to expose you to it. But these are things that you could not imagine one human doing to another. Okay. So I've gone through those experiences multiple times. And then I did it to myself as well. That's past. That is not even part of my blueprint anymore. That's the other important key here, is to move forward into the next paradigm of your life. It is imperative not only to heal and release the past, but no longer allow that past version of you, that past story, to exist. It happened. It's part of history. It created who you are now, but it does not define you whatsoever. That will completely and utterly change your life. Completely and utterly change your energy field and the way that you actually have the ability to create, because we do truly create our reality from our source energy, the source energy that we all stream. If we're connecting to it, if we're not separating from it. So I like to use this mantra, and I shared this with a friend. Make today, or whenever you're ready, the first day of the rest of your life, and leave the rest in the past. When you're ready, not prematurely, because you'll find it coming back up and you're like, why is this here? I thought I got over it. You didn't, apparently. Accept that and go deeper. We humans don't want to be hurt. We don't want to feel pain, but we have to accept that we have all been through extreme pain that scarred us and created these obstacles and challenges that we face today in life. And we've got to clear that up. That's this retrograde energy is here to help us do that. And if you're sitting around saying, I don't know how to do that, I don't have the tools, I don't have the... You do. You're naturally doing it. The only thing that is keeping you from that is this mind that is telling you a story, is creating a whole story based off of what your current circumstances are, lack or pain or whatever it is. It naturally is happening. So let's get out of the way. Tell the ego to take the back seat and let source energy start driving this ship. I love you all, and I will hopefully see you all in the live later on this evening. Much love. Bye.